country and across the world. We are here tonight live streaming. This is Wrestling with Comedy. I am your host, the real deal Joel Davis, former MMA fighter, professional wrestler, motivational speaker, currently podcaster, promoter, and stand-up comedian. What a show we have here for you tonight. It's a part two. He is returning. Before we get to our special guest, we have some announcements to make. The channel, our subscriptions have just hit 780 subscribers. We are so happy to announce that. We appreciate everyone who subscribed to the channel, as the hard work is paying off as we continue to run every Tuesday, every Thursday night with live stream and new content on a regular basis. We have the shows booked here, Wrestling with Comedy, up until the first week of October. 15 new episodes coming up. The next 3 episodes were announced. We have just booked 12 more episodes every Tuesday and Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, right up until the first week of October. Wrestling with Comedy. And on Wednesday, August the 11th. Is that August 11th on Wednesday? No, that is incorrect. We are live. On Wednesday, August the 19th. Wednesday, August the 19th. Leominster, Massachusetts. Get ready. You've seen nothing like it before. At the Chopsticks Chinese Restaurant Cuisine, Tank's Spanky's comedy production has booked me to come back to Massachusetts. I'm taking the stage. I'll be back in Massachusetts, people, on Wednesday, August the 19th. I can't wait to get out there and see everyone and hit the stage. But tonight's show is all about this man. He just celebrated 10 years on stage. Not easy to do. He is not only a 10-year veteran of the stage, he's also worked on stage in 2025 with Keeping It Real Comedy on 4 different occasions in the year 2025. In June, July, and August, he came in. He delivered each time. He featured. He hosted. He did what he does best, and that's stand-up comedy. Last July 18th, he was in Boston, Massachusetts at the Knicks Comedy Stop. He's worked at the Beer Giggles in Worcester, Massachusetts. He's been recently in Great Fall Comedy Club. Nick Tonight, July 31, Auburn, Maine. They love him out there in Maine. He just hit that out there. He's been on Knockout Comedy Zone, Sauce and City with Brenda Brown, open mic nights over the Irish Village in Brighton, Massachusetts. He's done a lot, and he's here tonight on Wrestle with Comedy. Let's welcome the return on part 2, Lloyd Legacy Sharp.
Thank you for having me.
That's the first I heard on that. And so we didn't mention this is episode number 51. Lloyd Sharp is here with us tonight. He is a man of many characters. Lloyd, brother, you just celebrated the 10 years. And you know, let's start right up with when you were Keeping It Real Comedy last year in June, July, August. How did you prepare for the shows? What did you think of the outdoor shows and Working Clean?
Well, it was, I don't want to say different because by definition, I'm not a dirty comedian, but it was just a matter of, I don't work around children very often. Which in most cases is a good thing. But that was probably the biggest adjustment, just like trimming down, not talking about certain topics. It's not all about curse words and sexual talk. Sometimes certain topics shouldn't be discussed around kids as well. So it was a matter of assessing what topics to not discuss, and obviously, you know, no cursing. That was really all I did to prepare for those, and it thankfully went well.
Yeah, man, it didn't only go well. You did great. You know, you were very popular on all those shows. Had you worked clean up until those shows in 2025, or did you have very little experience or any experience at all?
I had done clean shows before that, which again is not a lot of people define me as a clean comedian, I guess mostly because I don't, aside from cursing for emphasis, I don't really do a lot of dirty comedy. I actually am going to be in Groveland a week from tonight doing a half an hour, and I got that booking opportunity. It's the first show in this venue. That's the first like showcase. They've done mics on Mondays. The first showcase, and the person put me on the show, Jenny Fitz, might have heard of her. Put me on the show because I apparently, in her mind, can work clean and around families. So I've had experience doing it, but it's also not that much of an adjustment to make for me because I don't really do much risque comedy anyway.
Oh, okay. And so Jenny Fitz is putting on a comedy show, a live comedy show. I know who she is. She's hosted for one of our shows out in Cransford Island. She worked with Keeping It Real Comedy. And so she's putting a show on, and she's bringing you in because she believes that you can work clean. But the shows with Keeping It Real Comedy, they were very unique. They ran every Friday night through June, July, August of the year of 2025 last year. You were involved in 4 of those shows, Lloyd. You came back, and you delivered, and you delivered, and you delivered, and you delivered, and they're still talking about you out here. And we are talking with the new owners over there at Seafood and Cones, the new ownership. And we're Keeping It Real Comedy should be and could be and probably will be making a return there, Lloyd. And that's big news, I know, brother. One of the owners did stay. We just found out, and he was the owner that loved comedy. And I spoke to him on the phone through text message about maybe a week ago. So that's good news. If you just joined us here, episode 51, Wrestling with Comedy. I'm your host, the Real Deal Joel Davis, and we have here Lloyd Legacy Sharp, and when Lloyd Sharp's on the show, you know the Real Deal Joel Davis is going to keep it real. This man keeps it real. We're going to start right up with it, brother. We got something right here. We got to ask you this question because I have a lot of respect for you outside the stage and inside the stage, and the people want to know. The numbers are going up here. I want to know this myself, and so don't the people. You've been around 10 years around the stage in New England, right, brother? As a podcaster, when I say as a podcaster, you know it's going to be a difficult question. But as a podcaster, I have to ask you this, brother. You're looking good with the shades and the bandana in your head. You look good tonight. I have to ask you this, though. Who in New England, and it has to be at least one, who in New England would you call a time hog, someone that runs the light on a regular basis?
On a regular basis.
Or more than once that you've seen it. I mean, if they've ran it 1, 2, 3 times. I mean, we know there are a few comedians that do this. Let's be honest.
No, there are. I mean, 5 or 6 years ago, I could have given you 7 names. and 5 of them were new, so I can't really, when you're learning. Currently, like right now.
Yes.
I'll say that I've been able to watch within the past year and a half. I don't. Again, this is my sample size. No, I'm not. It's not a politic answer. Because, like I said, if you asked me this question 5 years ago, I could have given you 5 names. Those 5 names. Well,
I'm going to hold you right there for a minute. So the people understand. Running the light means going over the light. When you get the 1 minute light, it's usually a minute to warning. 1 minute, and then you're supposed to you end your set in 1 minute, Lloyd. You know what I'm talking about.
Here's another question. Let me rephrase. Do you mean at mics or on shows?
I mean, in general, mics or shows. It was just a question that, I had people ask me they wanted to know from some veteran comedians, who would they say, and if you don't have anyone now, who did you have a few years ago? You have names from a few years ago.
Like a few years ago, I probably would have named somebody like Leland Newton, who I love greatly.
Okay.
Used to have a habit of doing that.
Is that George Newton, you said?
Leland Newton. Lee Newton.
Okay.
Years ago, like 2018, 2019, had a habit of running the light. Stopped doing it by the turn of the decade.
Okay. Took him a couple of years.
I mean, yeah, like by the time to be fair, like me and him started around the same time. He would just go and sometimes people would let him because he was that good, but like he was probably the person who did it the most and got away with it.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that answer. I mean, if you just have the one name, if you have another name you wanted to drop, that's fine. I know it's a tough question, Lloyd, but
well, that's the thing. Like right now, I know people who do it, but none like often enough to where, that's what they're known for. Like no names right now that I'm watching in the last year and a half or last year or so ring a bell. as to like, there are people, obviously everybody does it once in a while, but like there's nobody that I know that like sees the light, oh, okay, and then there's like 10 more minutes deliberately. Like nobody that I see right now.
Well, 10 minutes over the light, it's not going to happen. I mean, you know that. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, I would say anything, in my opinion, and comedians that are watching, the numbers are going up big right here, right now. I mean, comedians that are watching, brother Lloyd, that's why I love having you on the show because you're so honest. But comedians that are listening, and even the fans that really don't know exactly what we're talking about, it's a very interesting subject. But the comedians that are listening from the West Coast, from the East Coast, all across the country, because we bring them in from everywhere here, brother. You know, this isn't just a New England-based show at all. Yeah. I bring people in from everywhere. And the people that are listening and watching, they'd want to know, too. Anything over, I would say, even closer to 2 minutes, 3 minutes over the light is obnoxious, in my opinion. I mean, 30 seconds to a minute.
I consider it a blessing that I can't name people known for doing that I can just name off the top of my head. That's an improvement.
That's an improvement. That's a great improvement. Brother, let's talk about it. July 18th, you were over there in Boston, one of the well-known clubs. Tell us about it. Take us through. Nick's Comedy Stop. How many times did you perform there? And in July 18th, I mean, you were on the poster, and I've seen some great photos of you. How was the show out there at Nick's Comedy Stop, July 18th?
The show was great. The thing about that show is I was tagged in at the last minute to be the host.
Okay.
And that actually kind of set a domino effect in motion. I was actually tagged in at the 11th hour to host about 3 or 4 more times after that, within a 3-week span.
That's a total different ball game at that point.
Mm-hmm. But that night, it was my second time performing there, but it was my first time performing there on the bill. The last time I was there, it was the year prior, where I was part of like a special, a major special guest night, where like a bunch of special guests were there. But like this was my first time performing there as one of the featured comedians. I was opening for Matt Mish, who was headlining. And I had, again, Steve Halligan, Andy Powell, you know, people that I enjoy, but like there was no host, there was no designated host to kind of like, you know, to introduce. And, you know, so Matt was like, okay, Steve, you want to host? Steve's just kind of getting back into it. You know, he took some time for personal reasons. He's just getting into it. So
Steve who?
Steve Halligan.
Okay.
So he didn't really feel comfortable, you know, hosting at that particular juncture. And then so Matt was going to do a, you know, pass the mic thing. And I'm like, oh, I'll host.
Oh, you volunteered. So you volunteered. You stepped it up. No one wanted. And people, just so you know, just real quick, and Paul, I apologize, Lloyd. I'm just chiming in quick. If people don't understand, hosting and doing a regular spot or a feature spot, a totally different material, totally different. You know, because as a host, you're warming up the audience. You're in between each comedian, and you're reading the audience to see how long you should be up there and how long you shouldn't be up there. And you want to get everybody over as comedians, and you're basically opening the show cold, like you're before even the first comedian on stage.
Mm-hmm. So I volunteered that night just to, because again, that's a friend of mine, be on a stage, so I figured great way to help him out. I've never hosted a show in a club before that point, so that was a new experience, and apparently it went well. It went so well that Casey Crawford, who wasn't even there that night, ended up saying, Lloyd, you should be hosting this more often. I've heard nothing but good things. That led to me ending up hosting a show in Worcester 2 weeks later at the very last minute, and another show at the very last minute.
Wow, that's great, Lloyd. That's great, Lloyd. I mean, look at you, brother. I mean, I said it before. I'm going to say it again. And people, if you just joined us, episode 51, Wrestling with Comedy. I'm your host, the Real Deal Joel Davis. Part 2, he has returned. Lloyd Legacy Sharp is in his house. And this man is one of the hottest workers, if not I say one of the hottest workers. I don't want to say the hottest workers, but I would say in the top hottest workers. He's always out there, always performing, always building content. He's always doing what he does best, and that's stand-up comedy. We're just going to rewind real quick. We have a comment here from comedian out of the Los Angeles, California area, a very close friend of mine. My brother, Cameron DeWan, has chimed in on the chat, and he says, as far as like the, you know, going over and being a time hog and running the light, he says no one will ever get over 10 minutes over. They would get kicked out at 1 minute over.
I was being sarcastic. It was hyperbole. I didn't mean literally 10 minutes. What I was trying to say was like, in my time, in the last year and a half, I've never seen anybody look at the light deliberately and ignore it. Because that's what a time hog is. Like if you don't know, if you don't see the light, if you didn't know you got it, and then you go over, you know, that's one thing. But there are comics, and I've seen them before, who will look at the light and be like, fuck that, and just keep going. I haven't seen any of that, but the 10 minutes, that was an exaggeration, obviously. Nobody will get to 10 minutes. He's correct about it.
So you agree with Cameron. Cameron is one of our feature comedians.
If they do get to 10 minutes, then that club should be shut down, because that should not be allowed.
That's great. Oh, I love it. We got two of the best here. We got Cameron DeWan from the West Coast in California chiming in with his insight. We got Lloyd Legacy Sharp.
No apologies necessary. It gave me a chance to elaborate for anybody who sees this in the future. So good on you. You apologize.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. July 18 was that big show, Nick's Comedy Stop. Lloyd, you've done so much and you do so much. You're so reliable. Like I said, I booked you 4 times right back there in the summer. We finally met. We had known each other for the last 4 years since I joined into the stand-up comedy world, the crazy world of comedy. You and I started to get to know each other, but then we first met back in last summer, 2025, and you'd worked the 4 shows. And what a pleasure having you in. Like I said, you're really a favorite all around. I got to ask you about this. I've seen some great photos of you and some great content, brother, of you in Auburn, Maine on July 31. You were at the Great Falls Comedy Club. That seemed like a super show, brother.
Yeah, the Great Falls Comedy Club is one of my, whenever people ask me, what are your favorite places to work or favorite rooms? Like, favorite room is hard to nail down, but like, gun in my head, outside of Boston, beyond the city, if I was asked to name, like, what was my favorite comedy room to work in, the Great Falls Comedy Club would probably be somewhere in the top 5. And it's one of those places that it's well known in the community. It's pretty well regarded in New England in general, but it's like it's not in the most populated part of Maine. Okay. So it's kind of like a special treat for like local fans there who may or may not know about it. I've worked there. I've done at least one show a year there since 2021. At least once a year, sometimes twice. It's a long way to go, and I'm a commuter, so like I do space the trips out accordingly. But I've never had a bad set there, which says something about the room. Me, but also the room. Yep. It's one of those places that if there's a lot of people, great, but even a small crowd makes it feel full. And July 31st was the first time I was on. They have like a night show concept called Nate Night. Yeah. And it's named after one of the comedians, and that's the first time I've been on that iteration of the show. But that particular night, it was me, Crystal Bernard, who's also a Maine comedian, and there was a musician and a magician as part of the lineup there, and that was another case of long trip, worth every minute, and obviously, as they said, they'll be inviting me back at some point. Yeah, and it was such a pro look. I seen the man wearing all the glitter jacket and the stage and everything. I mean, and you came out of Boston, Massachusetts to drive up there. How many hours was that? Was that more like a 4 or 5 hour trip one way, or how many hours up each way? So the thing about that trip is, and again, like I said, I'm a commuter, so I don't want to marry you, Lloyd. You're about to be sweetheart. Lloyd Legacy Sharp, hot as a pistol here tonight on Wrestling with Comedy. They love you, brother. They love you. Thank you, guys. So, as everybody, I'm a commuter. It'd probably be a shorter trip if I drove. But that trip in particular, usually, here's how it works. I'll try to keep it as condensed as possible. But whenever I go to the Great Falls Comedy Club in Auburn, Maine, there used to be a bus that stops at Bates College in the afternoon. And Bates College is like right over the bridge from the club. But now that bus only runs there after 9 p.m., which doesn't really give me a lot of time to show up for the show. So what I do is I leave early in the afternoon. I go to Brunswick, Maine. I lay over in Brunswick for an hour or two. Okay. Then there's a mini bus up there that's part of the local transit system that goes from Brunswick to the Oak Street station, I think, in Lewiston. And then from there, it's like a 15-minute walk to the club. Or if it's raining cats and dogs, a 5-minute Uber ride. But either way, it's a long day, but for that show, it's always worth it. It's always worth it. And that show there, and just so the people know, that show there, Auburn, Maine, it's the Great Falls Comedy Club. And we don't want to get it confused. I know there was another show up in Maine that you had done recently. I'd heard about it, and it was almost like in someone's home, in a kitchen or something. You went up into a kitchen, someone's home. It was Portland. That was Newscapes Brewing. I think that was. Was that in someone's home?
Someone's home?
Someone's home it was in someone's home that has turned it into a mini brewery.
Okay.
Which is just the most wonderful hippie concept ever. Cindy Anna Jones is the producer of that show. Enlighten Me, M-E for Maine. Enlighten Me Comedy. And fun fact about that show, it's called Gals and Pals, which is like mostly women in comedy, and then maybe one or two guys, which I think is maybe two guys too many, but that's my opinion. And apparently, I was the first pal, the first guy.
Wow.
That was ever trusted to headline that night, because I headlined that night. I did like north of a half hour, and apparently, man has ever been trusted to headline that show before until me. So.
That's great. Lloyd Legacy Sharp's here tonight. It's part 2. He's back. We have 10 minutes left to the program. Get your questions and comments in. We really appreciate the numbers coming in. Please subscribe to the channel, Wrestling with Comedy. You know, we want to continue to bring these lives every Tuesday night, every Thursday night with guests, quality guests, like the gentleman that we have here tonight, the very talented Lloyd Legacy Sharp. Episode 51, Wrestling with Comedy. I'm your host, The Real Deal, Joel Davis. Lloyd, before we get to one of our segments, Dealing the Names, let's talk a little bit about it. Spanky's Comedy Showcase, a promoter named Tank. He runs the shows in Leominster, Mass., Hopedale, Massachusetts. Tell us a little bit about Tank shows, and he's done a lot. Apparently, he's been in the entertainment business for years.
I've known this guy in person for only a short time. We've been online connected for months. I have so much admiration for Tank. He runs karaoke, comedy, game nights, all kinds of stuff. And I tell him this every time, and if he sees this, he'll know. I tell him this every time I see him. Thank you for all you do, and I am so sorry. Because it is not an easy job to wear that many hats. Thumbs up for Tank.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, it's Wrestling with Comedy, episode 51, Lloyd Legacy Sharp. We have a segment in the program that we have for every Wrestling with Comedy podcast, and we've brought Lloyd Sharp back for a brand new list of Dealing the Names. We have 5 names on the list, Lloyd. One name or one word or one statement or a short story on each name, please, brother. The first name on Dealing the Names with Lloyd Legacy Sharp here tonight on Wrestling with Comedy is Dennis Mall.
I like him. He's awesome.
Okay, the voice change, is there any reason for that? Or
I mean, there's not much to really say other than he's a hard worker and he's everywhere. And every time I see him, I enjoy working with him.
Beautiful. The number 2 name on Dealing the Names is the late, great WWE, WWF star King Kong Bundy.
I once saw him in a big-time wrestling show, and now I kind of feel bad for booing him.
You feel bad for who?
I feel bad for booing him.
Okay. The number 3 name on Dealing the Names is Will Conway.
Will Conway. Solid dude.
Beautiful. Dealing the Names here tonight. Lloyd Legacy Sharp, episode 51, Wrestling with Comedy. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Hit likes. We do appreciate it. The number 4 name on Dealing the Names is Tank, the promoter of Spanky's Comedy.
As I said a couple of minutes ago, thumbs up for Tank.
And the last name on Dealing the Names, 5 names on Dealing the Names every episode here on Wrestling with Comedy. The 5th name on Lloyd Legacy Sharp's list tonight is the late, great Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
Fuck him. Murdering ass motherfucker. I'm glad that Joel Davis kicked his ass in the early 2000s. Fuck Jimmy Snuka forever. Boo.
Okay, that's the way we do it. There's no sugarcoating here. It's Lloyd Legacy Sharp that was Dealing the Names. And now we've talked a little bit about, the shows that you've been on stage, live comedy shows. Talk about this, brother, real quick. We've got 6 minutes left of the program before we get to finish the statement, Lloyd. The Knockout Comedy live on Zoom, and then Sauce and Duh City coming out of Vegas, Brenda Brown. Talk about those 2 different avenues.
I will do that. But before I do that, for viewers who don't know, Jimmy Superfly Snuka, yeah, he's dead, but he also killed a woman, so fuck that guy. Now, back to the online comedy and KO and Sauce in the City. KO Comedy is the most, as far as I know, if not one of the most watched online comedy reoccurring programs, because they go to Twitch as well. They get hundreds of people like on Sundays and all through the week. I discovered it during Zoom, like most people, and they are one of the most successful reoccurring online comedy show formats and online comedy show entities that are currently running.
KO is okay. I didn't know what you
KO Comedy, yeah, like Knockout. Sauce in the City, Brenda Brown, who was doing online comedy before it became the norm. I first came across Brenda Brown in 2019, and she had an idea that was just crazy enough to work. It was an online, not traditional comedy, but online game variety show. And it started as an idea that I was there for, near the inception, and it has since gone on to become something that is not only sought after across the country, but it has even made its way over to Roku.
Wow, I didn't even know that. I know the Brenda Brown philosophy. I knew what she was doing. I did participate a couple of years ago on one of her shows. Very creative. She has such passion for comedy. Brenda Brown does out of Vegas. And it was a great. I heard that you were on there, and I heard Will Conway is still working over there. I remember someone named Joey Lee was over there, and King James Miller. But it's a great way to get out there and get some mics. So you've been doing both. Like we said before, it's Lloyd Legacy Sharp, Wrestling with Comedy, episode 51. He's working when he's not working. He's not sleeping when he's sleeping. His eyes could be closed. He's got the shades on. You don't even know, but he's still awake and he's very aware. He's doing what he does. He's a great son for his dad. He's a great person around his friends. He's there when you need him, and he's a caring person. And he's got the shirt that says "Ladies First," and he's very respected and one of the most popular comedians in the New England area. And you heard that first from the real deal, Joel Davis. Finish this statement, brother. This is one of the segments we have on every Wrestling with Comedy podcast. And it's going to be finish this statement. And everyone always looks forward to this part of the program. Here we go. One thing about stand-up comedy that I didn't expect was
how much you either have to love it or hate yourself in order to last 10 years.
Wow, that's an interesting one. I'm telling you, my guests, I want to do a shout out to Lloyd Sharp right now, and all my guests. The guests are coming up with the best finish these statements. I don't know. That's another good one. I heard one the other day finish the statement. Basically it was is in stand-up comedy, what do you have to do to succeed? And the guest had replied with, be a slut or be a whore. And that was by Beer Love Comedy. It was another funny one, but that one was a good one too. Lloyd, let's talk about it. This episode's about you. You've returned. We appreciate you being on our program and our podcast tonight, live streaming every Tuesday and Thursday night. What a pleasure again, brother. Cannot wait to see you again. It's been about a year since I've seen you or worked with you, but we'll have something down the road. We got about 2 minutes left. Let's talk about your social media and upcoming shows.
Well, I do want to take a moment to thank everybody who's commenting and chiming in right here on the podcast tonight. Thanks for watching little old me. I can be found on social media at Lloyd Legacy 617 on Instagram and TikTok. I used to be on Twitter before it became impossible to gain the algorithm advantage there. I'm on at Lloyd Legacy Sharp on Facebook. And honestly, the shows I have coming up, go on my Instagram. You'll find my schedule posted there at least once or twice a week, and that way I don't eat up the last 2 minutes.
Well, that's great, Lloyd. Yeah, we got a minute 20 left. Just chime in is DJ Robbie Fresh, the DJ that works with Keeping It Real Comedy. He's saying, well said, Lloyd. He's a big fan of Lloyd Legacy Sharp. I know that for a fact. He is my nephew. Hello, Robbie. Hello, everyone that's tuned in. What a show it's been. The numbers have been up quite a bit throughout this live podcast. We do appreciate you joining us tonight, and so doesn't Lloyd Legacy Sharp. Lloyd, you know what I'm saying, brother. A lot of love and respect for you, man. You you're one of the best, bro. You never change. You keep on doing what you do. Thank you for being on Wrestling with Comedy. What a part 2 this has been. I am your host, the comedian, the real deal, Joel Davis. Your guest tonight was Lloyd Legacy Sharp. Good night, everyone. And remember, at all costs,